10 best gangster movie characters ranked. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. This is a famous quote from one of the greatest gangster movies in the cinema history. Yes, Godfather. No genre in the movie and film industry is as recognizable or alluring as the gangster genre. From the silent era to the modern digital age, Hollywood has produced some of the most captivating crime dramas that portray the violent and glamorous world of organized crime. Audiences can't get enough of this cinematic masterpiece as their exciting plots and endlessly quotable lines have been ingrained in pop culture over the years. The gangsters in these crime films have become some of the most iconic villains and anti-heroes ever portrayed in cinema. These characters and their power-hungry, sometimes frightening behaviors have fascinating audiences and never let their interest in the film dwindle wherever they appeared on screen. From Tom Powers in The Public Enemy to Don Corleone in The Godfather, these are 10 of the most remarkable gangsters to ever grace the silver screen. Number 10. Tom Powers in the movie The Public Enemy at 1931. Tom Powers, James Cagney, grew up from as a poverty-stricken petty thief in his adolescence to becoming a well-respected enforcer for the Irish-American mob during the early Prohibition era Chicago. With an iron will and a tolerance for using violence, he wasn't willing to let anyone stand in his way on his quest to become famous. Becoming a gangster was the only desirable path in Tom's troubled existence. Through watching Tom's journey from being a young thief to a career criminal and then to his inevitable downfall, the audiences get to see a clear picture of how a life of crime always leads to unfortunate outcomes. Number 9. Frank Lucas in American Gangster at 2007. Frank Lucas, Denzel Washington, rode through the criminal underworld ranks to become the dominant drug lord of Harlem, New York. Wanting to cut out the middleman of his operations, he decided to buy his narcotic directly from the source to boost his profits, making him one of the wealthiest criminals in the country. Frank's lucrative empire made his journey from humble beginnings to look like a modern-day success story. However, to achieve his wealth, he had to commit deplorable acts and even murder, all in an attempt to maintain his powerful status. Though the authorities caught him in the end, his turn as an informant kept him from serving a life sentence and led to the arrests of his enemies and corrupted officials in the NYPD. Number 8. Tony Camonte, Scarface at 2032. Ambitious and young street thug Tony Camonte, Paul Mooney, quickly climbed up the criminal ladder to become the leader of the Chicago Mafia after double-crossing his boss and starting a gang war. Once at the top, however, his recklessness and violent temper soon proved his downfall. Tony had a gung-ho attitude and preferred to shoot first and ask questions later when solving his problems. He chose to go headfirst into a fight and felt joy and excitement when committing heinous crimes. His behavior ultimately led to his destruction, as he preferred to die like a gangster rather than live in prison. Number 7. Sonny Luspecchio, A Bronx Tale at 1993. Sonny Luspecchio, Chaz Palminteri, was the reigning mob boss of a small neighborhood in the Bronx, New York. After being saved from an arrest by a young boy named Calogero Lily Brancato, Sonny took a personal interest in an impressionable youngster and started taking him under his wing over the years. Sonny's belief about the life of a mobster was that it was better to be feared rather than loved. However, through his genuinely caring relationship with Calogero, Sonny's ideals slowly started to change as he became a more compassionate father figure. Ultimately, he managed to save Carlego from a life of crime and even death at one point until meeting his tragic end after the murderous actions from his past caught up with. Number 6. Frank Costello, The Departed at 2006. Frank Costello, Jack Nicholson, used brutality and intellect to maintain his control over the South Boston area. Not afraid to get his hands dirty on occasion, he was willing to commit sadistic acts and even play both sides of the law to always remain on top. Costello's influence garnered her many followers through his role within the Irish mob, including an impressionable boy named Colin Sullivan, Matt Damon, who would later grow up to become a Costello's mole within the Boston Police Department. His scheming and conniving nature made him a truly intelligent villain who always had an ace up his sleeve. Number 5. Bill, the Butcher Cutting, Gangs of New York at 2002. Bill, the Butcher Cutting Daniel Day-Lewis was the supreme leader of every string gang in the Five Points neighborhood in New York during the early 1860s. With a vicious and bloodthirsty demeanor, he ruled with the strength to harm or kill anyone who was threatening his authority. Bill was an outwardly patriotic American and was shown to be an honorable man in battle and respected his fallen enemies even after combat. However, he was also a spiteful and racist individual unwilling to hesitate to use brutal tactics when eliminating his adversaries. His reign eventually ended after the vengeful immigrant Amsterdam villain Leonardo DiCaprio took his revenge on Bill for the murder of his father. Number 4. Sam Ace Rothstein, Casino, in 1995. Professional sports bettor Sam Ace Rothstein, Robert De Niro, was given the golden opportunity to manage the mob-owned Tangiers Casino in Las Vegas, tasked with keeping the mob's investments in the casino profitable. He soon had to fight for control of his position after the pressures of his personal life started to put him in jeopardy. Ace knew once he took the job at the casino that his life and career would be put on the line if he failed. Despite facing much opposition from enemies and even his former friends, He managed to escape with his life from the crime world and outlived his other associate once the mob's grasp in Vegas started to crumble. Don Michael Corleone, The Godfather Part 2, in 1974. After the tragic death of his father and older brother, war hero Michael Corleone, Al Pacino, reluctantly followed in his father's footsteps to become the Don of the Corleone crime family. Showing no mercy towards his enemies, Michael was willing to do anything to protect his family and organization, even if it meant becoming a monster. Using a cunning intellect and sharp instincts, Michael would stay one step ahead of his opponents, aware of their every move. He showed no remorse for ordering the death of the others, as he rationalized these decisions as strictly business. His most shocking act, of course, was making the cold-hearted decision to murder his own brother Fredo, John Cazale, once he became a detriment to the family. Number 3. Tommy DeVito, Goodfellas, in 1990. Tommy DeVito, Joe Pesci, was an unhinged and psychopathic hitman working as an associate for a Lucas crime family. Working alongside his friends Jimmy Canovi, De Niro, and Henry Hill, Ray Liotta, he strove to make a violent name for himself within the organized crime world and harmed anyone who dared to disrespect him. Audiences best remembered his frightening criminal for his brash and hot-headed demeanor as he went about his monstrous ways, enjoying all of his violent actions without a care for others. However, a loose cannon like Tommy could never last long in the harsh world of the mob, and he was eventually whacked by his own friends for his unauthorized murder of a made man. Number 1. Don Vito Corleone, The Godfather, at 1972. As we mentioned, one of the quote of Don Vito Corleone, we reached the number 1 of the gangster movies. Don Vito Corleone, Marlon Brando, went from being a penniless, orphaned immigrant to becoming one of the country's most powerful and respected mafia bosses, believing that family and honor were the two most important aspects of life. He strove to ensure the survival of both once the other crime family in New York started to enter the dangerous drug business. Don Corleone was a reasonable, subtle man who mostly preferred peace to showing the barrel of a gun. When his family experienced tragedy due to a gang war, he brokered the truce over revenge to shield his family from more bloodshed. In the end, he died of old age, stayed true to his traditions and beliefs, even as the world around him changed and became more brutal.